Good afternoon, everyone. Jason here. Today is September 16th, and this is your aftermarket update. All right, as you know, we are trading the Top Step Trader Pro account. That is a version of their funded account. We've made it through step 1 and step 2, and now we are trading the Pro account in here today. We had a really good day doing it. You can see up here we had 2 trades. Right? Two trades, technically 1 entry. We started out with 1 lot, and then we added to the position later in the trade, and we were up today $1,400. Let's talk about kind of what was happening in the market today. Of course, there was over the weekend, today again being Monday the 16th, this weekend, there was a bombing of the Saudi oil fields that cut their production in half. And that has obviously made a significant impact in the market. In fact, if you turn off these levels for just a minute, spread this chart out, you can see that we gapped up over the weekend about 18% from where we were here all the way up to that open that was at 61.50 today. So again, it was a big gap open over the overnight session, again, due to that bombing of the Saudi Arabian oil fields. So again, that was kind of the context that we went into the trading day with. And so one of the things that we talked about as we entered into our session this morning is that we were going to be minimizing the risk today. We were going to be trading only 1 lots, and that's exactly what we did. And so we had a 1 lot trade that we ended up getting into, and then as the market ran in our favor, we ended up adding to that position, and I'll show you where we did that as we got into it. All right, as we got into the open, you can see here that our market maker levels had formed up, and again, they're based on time and price, and so with the big gap, the distance between the levels are fairly significant in the as we got into it this morning. If you measured this swing low to this swing high, and again, this was in ticks, this was 163 ticks, so that was a fairly large range. And we had this pullback down into the 50% of that area. So as the market opened up here this morning, we came down. One of the things that we look at is if we can't make it to the level above, we should make it to the level below. And then we began this process of coming down to the 50%. And we never could really close underneath that 50% retracement of this swing. And what we then began to talk about is getting long here over the top of the volume weighted average price. That's actually what I did. I ended up getting in long here on 1 lot at 60.20. One of the things that we talked about as well. I'm a huge fan and a big proponent of smaller stops, 10, 11 ticks, something like that. What we talked about in the trade room today is that given the nature of the fact that we're trading that Top Step Trader account, there are risk parameters that are tight. We expected some volatility here today. Given the geopolitical issues that were going on in the world. And we were also talking about the fact that, again, the ranges could be fairly significant. By the time we'd gotten together, there was a $4.60 range. So all of that combined together, we talked about reducing the risk here. We come down to this 50% area. We begin to make a move back over the top of the volume weighted average price. That's where I chose to get in. So we used the 50% retracement level, the fact that we could not get down to our DS signal, and we said, let's get in here at the volume weighted average price. We had a 20 tick stop. The average true range here at that moment in time was about 18, 19 ticks. So we were right in that range of what the average true range on the 5-minute bars were. And basically, we said that if we have a normally trade 2 lots with a 10 or 11 tick stop, that's $220 in risk. So today we had a 1 lot and expanded that risk to the same amount, which was $210. That's where we ended up getting in today. We talked about rallying up into, we had a level up here at 75. I've taken that off the chart, but there was a lot of price action that had been rotating around this 75 area. So if you take this horizontal line and draw it at 75, you can see that that's basically where price had been rotational in the overnight session. And so that was where our initial kind of look at target was going to be. What we decided, though, is one of the things that we always look at in here is if the market is beginning to move aggressively, then we will go ahead and look to potentially continue to ride it, and that's what we did here. All right, so measuring from this swing low to this swing high, got you to the 50% retracement we had here at the volume weighted average price. Again, we were expecting the market to rally based on the big gap in the overnight session, and so we took our cut at the long there at 60.20. And again, one of the things that we had also talked about is potentially reaching out to the high of the day, which was up there at 63.31. And that was another kind of big picture target. So we ended up being in this trade for just about 2 hours here today, as the market just kind of rotated back and forth around this volume weighted average price, and then slowly began the process of climbing. You're going to see me, once we get up to here and make this pullback, you're going to see me add one here at 61.06. So my initial entry was 20. We added at 61.06. That brought my average in price. Let's see. That brought my average in price to 60.63. Was my average in price. And I was in there at 2 lots at 60.63. Right in this area here was the average in. And again, we were looking to try to reach out potentially up to that high today. Now, as the market begins to rotate, we did get a spike up, and then market pulls back right towards, it was right in this area here. There was 61.58. We actually added in here 61.58, pulled back to 60.91. That had brought my average in to 60.93. Sort of rotated around that structure mid, never really could get it to close, and then again we continued to push up as the day went on. So really we had for the RTH session, we basically got in. The low of the day was 93 on the RTH session. We got in at 20. So for all intents and purposes, we got in towards the low, and we ended up with a 1-lot trade at the start with a 20-tick stop. We ended up with a 2-lot trade and a $1,400 target. And so we ended up with a 7-to-1, risking $200 to make $1,400 reward to risk trade. Again, this was done in the Top Step Trader Pro account, which again, that was a nice way to add ticks to that account. We'll continue to do that as we go through the trading day tomorrow. Again, entering in down here right around this 8:30, 8:45 area, ended up getting taken out right around 10:30 in this area here today. And so it was about a 2-hour trade. I'm going to let you watch this trade, but I'm going to cut it down. I think the trade ends up being like 3.5, 4 minutes long. I'm going to let you see where we get in. I'm going to cut it into pieces, speed it up, put some music behind it, and then you'll be able to see where it is that we get out. And that's how you'll know where we got in and where we got out. So again, a good way here to get into that Top Step Trader Pro Funded account. And so without further ado, here is your OTG trade of the day. In at 20. Stop is 99. In at 20. Stop is 99. I'm looking to target 75 to the DS mid at 82. This is a move off of the VWAP here.